Good afternoon. It's great to be here again. I used to teach here Kunyi, maybe 7, 8, maybe it's 10 years ago. I'm not sure now how many years ago. Anyway, so I have such a good experience in this area. So now I come back here because my colleague, my dear friend, organized a Tibetan medicine conference at the Stanford, so which is very successful. So I participate. I came for that, and I had an opportunity to meet with the community people here, which is very good. Thank you for organizing. Today's my topic is looks like 5-element theory. So what I want to say today is the first thing, the history of the Tibetan medicine. Maybe many of you know already what is the Tibetan medicine, where they came from. Maybe many of you don't know exactly. So the history of the Tibetan medicine, and the root of the Tibetan medicine came from Tibet. Before Buddhism introduced into Tibet, Tibetan medicine already been practicing in the land of the Tibet. So different histories, because it's the different way of the presenting. Like the Tibetan medicine began in the land of the Tibet, is a sense the human living in that planet, and the medicine is there. We say it started the medicine in Tibet. We say the first disease is indigestion, and the first treatment is the hot water. So everything is when they're practicing dealing with the highland, cold weather, and the samsaric nature of the samsara. And then for sure they had a lot of problems on the physically and mentally, and then started the antidote based on this kind of condition. So when we're looking in the Burn traditions, all those ritual practice included lungda. We put a lot of lungda around. You know what's lungda, no? Prayer flag, what it's called. So the lungda presented with the 5 color. Why this 5 color is not making a beauty? There is a big meaning because of the 5 elements. Also, when we're putting the 5 color lungda, there is a order. Either you want to put sort of like the right to the left, or you want to put like top to the down. So there is 2 ways to like put the elements, colors, because it's to make a balance. When we're putting sort of like to the left to the right, because of the Tibetan culture, everything right side is, we say, the respect. We respect, honored. So left, the first color, we put sort of like the green, and then the right color, and the yellow, and the blue, and sort of like the white color. So that way, so that the white and the blue. Why? Because it's green present the wood element, and then the red color present the fire element, yellow present the earth element, white present the metal element, and the blue present the water element. So that is when we're looking, and that is how we try to harmonize. Why? Because it's the Tibetan Buddhism or the Tibetan medicine, we believe outer nature or the inner sentient beings, everything composed by these 5 elements. Without these 5 elements, there's nothing. Everything is based on the 5 elements. For this reason, when we're putting like the green to the red color, because green present like wood producing the fire. Today the fire looks like comes with electric, but originally, ideally, is naturally is that the wood is the productions, no, the fire is productions from the wood. So the wood comes first. When we're looking at the fire, the mother of the fire is wood, and the son of the wood is the fire, like the mother and the son relationships. So this astrology we say is that it goes to the mother, son, friend, enemy. So this is pretty much also our samsaric idea. So what the mother and the son means, mother, no matter which kind of mother is, which kind of mother has a capacity, but mother always protect their children. So it does not matter which kind of mother, mother educated mother, uneducated mother, rich mother, poor mother, beauty mother, ugly mother, does not matter. Always mother try to protect their child. But when we're looking like child to the mother, it does not matter which kind of children, today looks a little bit different, but all the children listen to the mother, agree to the mother, respect to the mother. And then the way says there's a friendship, like when we're looking like the wood, the friend of the wood is earth. Because in order to grow the wood, we need earth, soil. Friend means is always supporting. No matter what happened, the friend is there. So that is the meaning of the friend, you know. It's when we try to have a friend and not go to the bar. As a friend is not when I'm happy you are there. No, the friend meaning of the real essence of friend is not that. When I'm happy you are there. When I go to party you are there, comes with me party. No. The essence of friend is when I have suffering, when I have something is not going well, and you are there supporting me. So that is friend. So we say is that the friend of the wood is earth, because earth helps to the wood to grow, to plant, to hold. So that also type of like the supporting, protecting, or like supporting that your whatever you need to grow. And the last one we say is the enemy. When we're looking like the wood element, the metal element is your enemy, because metal has the sharp cutting the wood. So that is we say is enemy. Enemy, ideally enemy, is always try to attacking you, harming you. That way we say is enemy. So this one, when we're putting this the 5 element lungda on the outside, what is the goal? To harmonizing this 5 element, putting orderly, help us to reinforce or balance our abnormal or like imbalance our element. And then that also we put a little higher place, because as the wind blows and the wind activate them, because as once we have something, we need activate, you know. If I have a cell phone, if there is a charger, we need to put it like a plug and then charge something, then we can use ideally later. Same as like that, if there is prayer flag, there is wind outside, we know that. But till to take the action is not producing. That's the reason always we say is we need to put the prayer flag and then put it a little higher. And then also, based on your age, based on your year element, and then we can justice sometimes a little more and a little certain element is more and a certain element is less. So this kind then also we can do. In the Tibetan culture, like this, the lungda, we call is the wind horse. Looks like translated directly. So lungda, it means is that the wind is very fast, very transparent, very subtle, can arrive everywhere any second. So they don't need any boundary. So this kind of like your prosperity, your balancing, everything goes very high, quickly, fast. So this kind of also came from the Burn tradition. It's not Buddhism tradition. All those came from the Burn tradition. So what I'm saying is the history of the Tibetan medicine, or the root of the Tibetan medicine came from the Tibet, included those kind of knowledge. And then later, once they introduced the Buddhism into Tibet, and the king of the Tibet had the princess from the China, this come time, of course, also we had a lot of influenced knowledge, good things came from India, and then China, and also other neighbor countries. During the 9th century, we had a great conference, International Tibetan Medicine Conference in Tibet. At that time, the neighbor doctors, scholars sit together in Tibet, and they lead by the Tibetan scholar, that the father of the doctor, or founder of the medicine, Yuto, Yundegombo. So they had a big discussion, conference, and then they wrote a book they called Menpa Phuntsog. So they call it Fearless Weapon. So this book existed. So this is basic sort of ideas of the Tibetan medicine and then the background of the Tibetan medicine. As I said before, the Tibetan medicine or the Tibetan Buddhism, everything we believe, everything is composed by the 5 elements. So when we look in our body, so all this our body material came from the 5 elements, composed with the 5 elements. And how, when happened, soon we conceived. So in order to conceive us, we needed 3 materials according to Tibetan medicine. First, we need the father's sperm. Second, we need a mother's egg. So these two is that the 2 equally important substance. So what we presented like the mother's egg as like field, and the father's sperm is like a seed. Seed without soil, nothing grows. Soil without seed, also nothing grows. So these two sort of equally important. But plus we need their own consciousness. So these 3 together, plus action, so now there is a possibility to conceive, to have some reproductions. So this that the father's sperm and the mother's egg comes within the 5 elements. Same as like poison ivy comes with poison. Poison ivy, poison is not come later somehow, somewhere, because the plant grow with poison. Same as like that way, the 5 elements come within these 2 substances. But the consciousness is a little interesting. We did not say consciousness is composed by the 5 elements. Because any kind of like a material, 5 element is like more like material levels. Any kind of thing composed or built by the 5 elements, sooner or later declines because material level. But conscious is a not rough 5 elements. Can be like a more subtle 5 element. We cannot say there's nothing 5 element. We can't say because consciousness has a determination, searching the parents, moving there and the attack. So like this kind of like development, so on and so forth. There has a action. We cannot say is a 5 element. The consciousness is a nothing connected with the 5 element. We cannot say. But also we are not saying. But is definitely consciousness is not composed by the rough 5 elements. Because once the body, physical body declines, the consciousness is still active. Once the body is not moving anymore, but the consciousness has a action to search the next body. So that is sort of like determination, so they are not composed with the material 5 elements. So once the body formed, okay, what are the presenters equivalents of sort of like the elements in our body? So when we're looking at the earth element, so medical, when we're talking, is slightly different than as is mentioned before, the prayer flag. When we put that prefix, the element is like Xing, Me, Sa, Jak, Chu, wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. So those 5 elements. But when we're talking the medicine, the 5 element is slightly different. What we say, Sa, Chu, Me, Lung, Nam, Ka. So earth, water, fire, wind, and space. So it's the same. When we starting more deeper level, it's the same. Because it's wood and wind is the same. Because it's one is wood is moving, no? Also the wood is green, so that way that the wind element present color is green. So this is the same. Metal is a little harder part, as we put under category of the earth, because that is that the mineral came from the earth. Little harder, stable, heavy, put same category. So this kind of is the same. So when we're looking this the 5 element point of view, the medical system like earth, water, fire, wind, and space. So the first 4 element is like material. The last one is not material, like space. So when we look in our body, what's the earth element in our body? All those like heavy, flesh, bones, structures, substance is earth element. Because earth is sort of like cohesive, earth is heavy, earth is stable. So all our body, those nature is earth. When we look in the earth element, represent earth element in our mind. What is the earth element present in our mind or our conscious? Also like thinking, not thinking actively, but after we have thought, we follow the thoughts and then we judging them. Should I do? Should not do? No, no, no. Yes, yes. So this kind of, to make the time for judging. And also calm, peace. And also actionally, we have sort of like calm, peace, sleep. All those things came from this earth element. When we're looking at the water element, in the physical parts of the water element is all our body fluids, smooth, soft. So all those kind of is parts of the water element, all the lubrications. And when we're looking like the mental, is same as like the earth, all like peace, calm, so this kind of. When we look in the fire element, what the fire element do in our body, and when we look in our body, all the temperatures, regenerating the substances. So all those sort of like the fire element, particularly sort of like the regenerating at the warm temperature. But when we look in the mental, also like the determinations, self-confident, and then also sometimes like a proud, I am something. All those kind of comes with the fire element. Smart, this kind of like easy to catch, sharp mind, so this kind of active. And then when we're looking like the wind element, what they do in our body. So wind element in our body is that like the circulation things, actions of like circulating, and also like touching feelings. And also when we're looking like the mental level, what they do, all our thoughts, constantly to have this creating like this, that the new thoughts is that the wind element. The space element, what they do, and the space element is a space, so like to give the room for the all other elements. Same as like that way. Also when we're looking the earth element, what the earth element do for the sense organs. So the earth element do in our sense organ when we're looking like the organ connections. Earth element is more connected to the spleen, and the stomach. And when we're looking that the sense organs, what the earth element do, earth element is sort of like the more like touching feelings, and the special like the lips, this kind of feeling. And then when we're looking the water element organ presents like our kidney, bladders, urinary bladder, so those kind of, and the hearing, sense organ like the hearings. When we're looking the fire element in the organs like liver, gallbladder, so these kind of organs, and the sense organ like the visions. And then when we're looking the organs like the fire element, and the heart, and the small intestine, and the sense organ is like the tasting. So this is sort of like the how they're connected, outer, inner, and like secret organ, how they're related with this 5 elements. So what this talking is that the 5 element is composed with our physical body, and also 5 element, each element presents one solid organ, one hollow organ, and one sense organs. So these 3, one solid organ, one hollow organ, and one secret organ, these 3 like presented 3 like the gates. Secret like the sense organ like outer gate, so we can see. And then the hollow organ is inner gate, and the solid organ is a secret gate. So that also like how the color chakra system they developed, outer mandala, inner mandala, secret mandala. Outer mandala, people can see our eyes, but they cannot see my liver. So this kind of, if they wanted, can see, but it takes a little while to get there, And sometimes, they open, they can see, but it takes a little while. Then to get my energy of my sense organs or my 5 element, and it takes another level to get there. But that does not mean, if you cannot see, that does not mean it is not existed. In the Tibet, we have one word we say, "Matong chinje meba min." If you don't see, that does not mean it's not existed. So that is very interesting, So this is sort of like the basic ideas of the element. So since we have our body is composed with 5 elements, we are living with 5 elements. How? Because our body is, as we said, a 5 element body. 5 element body need to regenerate with 5 elements, because we need constantly eating like substitute like the 5 element body, because 5 element is material and they're degenerating, so we need to put 5 elements to rebuild the body, to maintain the body. So for that reason, we need to eat, we need to drink, we need to breathing, and also much more. So the 5 elements, in general, we try to eat like all types of the food. So when we look in the food, there is 6 tastes, basically 6 tastes. So the 6th taste is the fundamental taste, like sweet, sour, salty, bitter, hot, and astringent. So this 6 is a 6 fundamental taste. And some food has like 3, 4 taste. Some food has like 2 tastes. And it is not so common to have only 1 taste food. So why the 6 taste? Because each taste has a 2 predominant elements. When we're looking like this, the sweet taste is predominated by the earth and the water element. Sour is predominated by the fire and the earth element. Salty taste is predominated by the water and fire element. Bitter taste predominated by the earth, the wind and then the water element. And the spicy or the hot taste is predominated by the wind and the fire element. And the last one, this astringent, is earth and the wind element. So these combinations of the certain element predominate, and then they produce a special taste. So now this that the six taste of the food which predominated by a certain element we eating daily base to regenerating our body. So in case if we have something problems, what we can do. So in general, when we're looking the cause of the disease, cause of the disease is this, a five element is the cause of the disease. We have these five elements in our body, so that is the future cause of the problems. An example, I have this physical eye, and then my eye is the problems of future, I have eyes problem. If I do not have eyes, then likely I don't need to suffering with that. Also maybe I don't have to using that, but also I don't need to suffering that, no? Same as like that way, that the five element is the cause of the problems. So when we look in this the five element body, when we're talking, so five element theory when we're talking is more so like the embryology time we using this five element theory or the terminology. When we getting to talking about like the etiology, so like cause effect of the disease, now we don't using this the same five element theory. So we say is that the three dua. They translate, they call is three humor. I'm not sure how that exactly functioning, but we call it three dua. Dua means it's something to get gathering. So like the earth and the water together is the element dua that we call the pagan. They translate, they call it a flame. And the fire element is the tipa, which they translate is the bile. And the lung, which is the wind element. And then is that the wind, they call the wind, wind humor. So they translate, they say is the wind, bile, and the flame. So maybe tonight we just using that because it's easy to, follow up. But that does not mean, I'm not sure that exactly how they work. So normally we say lung, chipa, and pagan. So this lung, chipa, and the pagan, all together we have like 20 characteristics. 6 characteristics for lung, 7 for chipa, and 7 for pagan. So when we're looking for the lung, there's 6 characteristics: rough, cold, light, mobile, subtle. So this kind of, there's 6, like hard. So there's 6 characteristics. Some of them is not so easy today to understanding, like a subtle, hard, maybe it's not so easy. But is that the rough, when we like a dry skin, we need more oil, no? Winter we need more cream than the summer. So this kind of like rough means is a little dry, because is wind causing to dry, no? So this kind of. And the cold is like nature of the wind, and the mobile, unstableness. So this kind of is easy to understand. But it's hard when we say it's a hard, like a opposite of the soft. When we're thinking like a balloon, before you put the air in the balloon, is a soft, no? After we put air, and then it became a little hard. Same as like that way also, if our abdominal, so like a bloating time, we have became little drum, boom, 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 boom. And then no ear is not ideally little soft. But also that the heart is more like digestive functions, tendency you have more like a constipation. So this kind of. And then when we're looking at the Tipa, there is 7 characteristic. Tibetan so Tipa characteristic is like oily, sharp, hot, and then liquidy, stink, diarrhea. So this kind of. And some of them may not be so easy, but it's sharp. If you have like excess heat problem, is a disease manifests much faster. Also easy understand, if we have like close to 100 degrees of fever, doctor immediately we get attention from the doctor. If I have knee pain, go to the emergency, takes a long time to get the doctor's attention. Because they know the knee is cold nature problem, will not like take something is life-threatening, but the fever is sharp, can brain like the damage the brain very quickly, or to get the crazy, or can take the life, and that way we get immediately the attention. So that means Tipa is sharp. But Tipa also oily. We say oily because we get a lot of acne problems, like a lot of like skin problems. And also we get a lot of like diarrhea. Sometimes people drink 1 glass of wine and they have the diarrhea. Nothing to do with that wine, but your personality or your problem is Tipa. And some people taking even like a laxative medicine, like a flaxseed, daily base, but nothing happens. Why? Because your tendency for the lung. So this is that means is like a sharp, goes immediately, boom, there. So this kind of there is like a 7 characteristic, like a sharp, oily, hot, stinky, liquidy, sort of like, and they also get a lot of sweatings. But when you look in the Pekin also has the 7 characteristic. Also the first one is like oily, because it's always wet, skin is a little wet, and heavy, stable, sticky, so this kind of. So like we understand, Pekin is earth, the water element, so the both is a little heavy. Water put into the soil, making little, what you call muddy, like sticky. So this kind of thing. So Pekin there is a 6 characteristic. Pekin sa yinum se wada chidun chadu jamten jarbak, so this kind of. So now when we sick, when something happened, what happened? So these 20 characteristics of the lung, Tipa, and the Pekin, either they get like excess or the deficiency. That way we have the problems. And sometimes also they can go so like wrong way. So that time we say is like a reversed problems. Since the lung is little light, rough, unstable, so once the lung is like rough, light, unstable, this kind of thing, if the lung excess, then we have a lot of problems. First thing we show the mental problems. Our mind is so unstable. Always we feel something doing. We need to do something. And then we want to do something, but then half the way, then we give up this, then we want to do this. Unstable. We are very sort of like nervous. And then also, our physical is this, that the circulation is moving fast, so we get a lot of pain. Unstable way, we get a lot of pain. our circulation goes to either fast, strong, like constant, so like moving. So and then often we get like the high blood pressure. So when we look in the high blood pressure, this is not all in lung cause the high blood pressure. When you look in the high blood pressure, there are also two types of the high blood pressure. One is like the causing by the blood high blood pressure. One is causing by the lung high blood pressure. So the high blood pressure causing by the lung, easy to understand. When we're getting any sort of like stress, blood pressure goes up. Blood pressure goes up, makes more stress. Like a basketball playing, you know, like boom, 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 everything goes together like, you know, one affects to the other and then makes it goes more higher, you know. Because it's that the stress leads the blood pressure leads the stress, so then this kind of like goes together. So then this kind of then we call is that the excess lung element. If the divisions of the lung element, so excess lung also one of the main symptoms is insomnia, not able to sleep. Because it's too light, too unstable, not able to fall in sleep. But then if you have the deficiency of the lung element, the wind element, so now the opposite of that. If the excess is not able to sleep, but the deficiency is don't want to wake up. Excess is too many thinking thoughts, but the deficiency is they hardly don't remember nothing. Mind became very dull. Excess lung is like the circulation too fast. Deficiency is don't getting there. So then this is we call is that the deficiency problem. If the lung deficiency means is that the likely pagan predominated because heaviness is formed. So the body became is heavy, no? And then if we have like the fire element, excess the fire element, which we call the tipa, digesting very fast. Every hour like wants to eat something. And then also, like the body temperature goes higher. Also can causing often like skin problems. And in the meantime, when you look in the mind, very sharp. And the too sharp, also not necessarily nice, no? Looks like pushing, you know. So people don't like that either, you know. And then another one also became a little rough. Aggressive. So, and in the meantime, also we get a lot of like the liver problems, and then all the fire connected organs, circulations, blood, these kind of problems. If the tipa deficiency, opposite of that, instead of hungry every hour, even 5-6 hours, you don't feel hungry. Which means is your digestive system became very slow, not digesting. Always you feel a little congestion, you know, like always you feel a little stuck in here. Always you feel something little blocking. And also instead of you have sharp mind, it became dull. You don't remember hardly nothing, or you don't want to do. So again, you have sort of like the symptoms of the either like the pagan developed, and then or the lung, a little cold, temperature, body temperatures became cold, and then you get a lot of cold nature problems. Same also if you have like an excess pagan, and then we have very dull mind, heavy, gain weight, like losing the digestive system, because is that the nature of the earth and the water element is like predominating. But once we getting like opposite of that, deficiency of the pagan element, and the wind comes up and it shows all symptoms of the wind element. So that is which we call is that excess and the deficiency of the lung tipa pekan. So that is the pretty much what we suffering in a daily basis. When we're looking to our individual, included myself, looking, that's pretty much happening most of the time. So now what we can do? So if I have too much sleep, it's not so nice. Everybody sleep like 8 hours enough. 7 a.m. wake up, 7:38 have the breakfast, and then go to the work. But then 8:30 still I'm not woke up. It's not nice. And then that's causing a lot of problems, no? That's just not nice, which would something what I'm looking for, no. But then, okay, if I woke up 4:30 a.m., how about that? No, that also doesn't help me so much, no? Otherwise, my day is too long. End of the day then makes me angry because I'm woke up too long, so that also doesn't help me. So now what we can do for that? So since our body is composed by the 5 elements, now what we can do? We can eat. So this is one way of the regenerate our whatever the deficiency things. One, we can breathing like a yantra yoga. We can do like a yoga. And also, if they need it, there's some like external therapies. Or simply we say is changing with the diet, changing with the behavior. If they need it, taking external therapy, and then if they need it, also take some extra substances, so like the medicines. Once we're looking that the diet, if I have my wind elements excess, what can we do? Okay, first I look what's the characteristics of the wind: light, rough, mobile, and the cold. Okay, need warm, need heavy to put into stable. That is the main what we need. Rough also need oil, because rough we need oil, no? Rough skin we put the lotions. If the paper, wind taking paper, we put some heavy things on the paper and to keep them down. So what we need simply, we need oil, warm, heavy. So these 3 nature we need it. Okay, so now which kind of taste have this kind of nature? Sweet, okay. Sweet is the heaviest. Why? Because sweet has earth. Earth is heavy, and also water also heavy. Earth and water together, if I have a bottle of water and 1 pound of the soil in my backpack, it's pretty heavy, no? So that is heavy. So heaviest is earth and water combination is the most heavy, but not necessarily warm. But now, which element, which taste has the warm nature? Sour and salty both has warm nature. How about sour? Sour is combination of fire and the earth element. Another one is a fire and the water element. Compare water and the earth is warmer, no? So we can sleep on the earth, but we are not so happy to sleep in the water, because water is more cold. So sour is pretty good, and the salty also okay, So simply, if I have like insomnia, excess lung, my mind became very unstable. I have very short temper, getting very easily the nervous, or I have a restless problem. The best taste is sweet, salty, and sour, because these 3 is the best one. That does not mean is I should eat 3 times a day and then all the year, no. Because my goal is not only producing the wind element up, it's balance. If I eat too much heavy and then building a lot of heavy so that the pagan comes up. Then I don't have any wind. So that is not my goal. So this kind of, no? If I have deficiency of the wind element, because I'm very heavy, my mind is very dull, so what I can do? Okay, I try to eat more like the bitter taste, because bitter taste is the wind and then the water element, because both is called light. And also the hot, spicy. Spicy is like the fire and the wind element. The both is light. And astringent also pretty good, because earth and the wind. Wind goes in the earth dries, it becomes light. So these three taste is the best option at this moment, if I have like a deficiency of the wind, which means is excess of the earth, like the pagan. Another one, when we're looking, like if I have, like my eyes are burning all the time, always I feel a little dry my eyes, and then always I get like angry, always I have little pain here, I have blood pressure high, skins come to little brown, sometimes reddish, and the particular comes little, like a deficiency of the oxygen, so like the bluish, which means is my fire is going up, because I'm always getting angry, and that also causing is a light sleep. If that happened, because my fire is went up, so now what we need to find, because fire has sharp, light, hot, okay, I need something dull to make something calm down. I need something cooler nature. Also, I need something rough as opposite for the oil. So now what I need to find, which kind of taste I should look for. When we look in the 6 taste combination, the bitter taste is the most cold nature, because it's wind and the water element. And the sweet is the most heavy, and astringent also is pretty rough. So these three, like sweet, bitter, astringent, is good for if I have excess heat. If I have like deficiency of the heat, means is that the developed cold pagan, I have like pain on the back, swelling the legs, and then constantly pee, like what you call the frequency of pee. After I peed, still I feel something in my bladder remain, and the swelling eyes, and then heavy sleep. Soon you sit down like that means is I have, deficiency of the heat, excess of the cold pagan. So what we can do to balance that? Okay, we go back to checking that the 6 taste. First we go to what's the characteristics of the tipa. Tipa is sharp, so on sulfur. So deficiency means those are losing, develop the pagan, and the pagan heavy, cold, sticky, stable, smooth. So those kind of like the pagan characteristic. So what do we need to find now? We go look to the other 6 tastes. What are the combination? Like sweet? No, because it's the earth and water element heavy. Already is heavy, eating sweet makes more heavy. That doesn't sound good. Sour, pretty good, because it's earth and the fire element. Salty, pretty good, not that bad. But hot, light, sharp, rough, best one, looks like the hot, spicy. And astringent is not that bad, because combination of earth and the wind element. So if we have like the divisions of the fire element, excess of the pagan, the earth and water element, the best taste is the hot, astringent, and sour. So those kind of taste. So then that way we can balance. But now is the big question, okay, which kind of food? Those kind of characteristics. Okay, food, when we comes into the food, we dividing the food into in the Tibetan medicine, we divide it into 3 main categories. So like all the grain group, all the meat group, all the vegetable group. So these 3 is sort of like the 3 main groups. And then once we come to the drink group, and all the dairy product, and also all the oils. So oil is sort of like sometimes separated, sometimes under the grain. So when we look in those things, all the grain, barley, wheat, rice, quinoa, so on and so forth, is sweet. All of those has a capacity to build the body. But then it's different. Like a barley and then wheat, as a barley grows on the high elevation on the dry land, and then wheat grows in the valley with water. So the wheat is more cooler, heavier. So that way they say, today there's a lot of diet, they say should not eat wheat product, special white flour. Because the wheat has heavy, cold nature. I think that most of the wheat also putting seed in the winter and the late autumn, whole winter stay underground and the spring grows up. But as barley is sort of like a spring, late spring put, and then summer grows and the autumn harvested. It's much lighter. But then the rice we say is neutral, and the quinoa is light. So this kind of. But then when we look at the green vegetables, most of the green vegetable is sort of like the neutral, cold nature. And in particular, like the cucumber, dandelion, arugula. So those group of the vegetable is more cold nature. Particularly if you feel like the bitter taste vegetable is cold nature. And then all the dairy product again is sweet because they have like building body capacity. But then again it's different which animal came from those products. Like the cow, neutral, goat is cold nature, and the sheep is warm nature. And the Tibetan, the yak, like the female yak, we call them G. Yak is male, so there's nothing dairy product. So when we look at the G, the female yak is that the living on the high elevation, like the cold climate, is the warm nature compared with the cow. So then that way we can justice. Any kind of like the cow product is neutral. Any kind of like goat product is cold nature. Any kind of sheep's product is warm nature. So when we're looking the fruit, and then fruit is sort of like interesting. The most fruit has like 3 to 4 tastes. Like when we're looking like apple like sweet, sour, mostly sweet, sour, and sometimes ending with the bitter astringent. So this kind of, like any kind of, so like a sour taste fruit, like fire element, good for the pagan. And then any kind of like the sweet and the cold, like the papaya, is good for liver and clean. And then like the peach is good for the blood system. And the pomegranate is good for kidney. So then this kind of way we goes. So that is mainly you observe the taste and then you see. So conclusion of this, when we're making a extra help for these things. Okay, so sorry, before the conclusion. So the diet is more or less like this way. So you need to look at the taste and then go with the which element is excess or deficiency. But then when we're looking the behave is one of the very important one, because is the Tibetan medicine we say is that the ignorance is root of all the problems, all the disease. So Nena kungu juni marikpa, so marikpa is root of all the problems. So also the Buddhism they say is ignorance is the cause of all the three poisons. So it's good to be sort of like awareness. So what we need to aware of when we're looking like the behave, one, you try to focus and pay attention to your attention. So your attention is that which you leading. Your attention is your leader, no? So when the mind wants to lead something, you try to pay attention to that and you judging good or bad. Like when we're looking like at the poisons, we have this attachment, hatred, and delusions. So attachment, you thinking, really, do I need this? If I get this, what would be the useful? You know? Something is that really I need or I don't need. Sometimes it looks like we need everything. When I go to the store, it looks like, wow, everything is interesting. My goodness, it's diamond. Oh, that jewelry, looks like. But then when I get, well, what can I do? And then trash, We buy a lot of things, and they're trash. Comes to the trash, even we don't know where should we put. Extra job. So it's good, We're thinking really we need or not. Same. Also when we get like angry, attacked, like a hatred to someone or close to something, also we can think about what would be the value of this angry, After this anger, which kind of benefit I get? If I get angry to become enemy, then what's the benefit of, what I get from that? And then the Shanti Deva, they said, Kapatonda Sapa, Jinda Digicholo, Lejakan, and the Kondrojik Jombrache. So even you accumulated kalpas virtues, you accumulate in the kalpas and kalpas good merit, but can be burned out with one angry. So then why we do that, And then also friends or colleagues or whatever, when we get angry, of course sometimes we get angry because we are in the human, we are not an enlightened being. But then we think about, okay, what would be the benefits of this one? After I fighting with this person, what I get? If I die tomorrow, because I don't know when I'm die. Maybe he died tomorrow, maybe I die tomorrow. Then what would be the effects, doing this? Same also when we're getting sort of like delusions. Because we don't have such long time for our life. This human life is very special life. Once we get this special life, and it looks like the time is very limited. So it's good to do something. Also Rinpoche always saying, half of the life is sleeping, so important to do something, dream yoga. That's true. Because it's every breath, our life is heading towards to the end, not coming back. So sometimes we're thinking, I put some new cream, I became a little younger. Yeah, we tried that. But it's not coming back, going ahead. The problem is. So, like for a season, season is changing momentarily. It's a good part is coming back. also our life is coming back. For that reason, to coming back our life, to have a good life, or to living is a nice way. Something is do something is active, not like passive. This also will be like a behave part, to be active. Active does not mean it's always move, no. Active means is a try to be a good being, actively try to be a good being. And the Buddha said, you take your body as an example, don't harm to any sentient being. If you don't like disrespect with someone, don't try to do disrespect to other sentient beings. If you don't like cold, don't put the other person in the cold, because they don't like. Everything sentient being is a material body, So actively thinking this kind of thing. So this is like the more like the mind. And then the breathing is the behave parts of the breathing. So I think you all studying like yoga, no? Yanta yoga. So Yanta yoga is that the one, like the parts helping through the breathing to harmonizing your 5 elements. So 5 elements we can eat material food, but we can inhale the 5 elements through our breathing system, included our pulse. The breathing 5 elements help to regenerating our 5 elements. So the breathing is not only raw material body, but is more subtle element regenerating. So that way the yoga is very important. Then another one, so like the conclusion of this one, and then you can do like external therapies. So when we talk in the external therapy, I think tomorrow is more for the external therapy, so I will try to focus more on the external therapy. So today's this conclusion I will do with some tea, if some of you maybe don't come tomorrow. So when we look in this, that you look or you observe those like lung triple peg and excess or deficiency. If the lung excess, which is the light, rough, whatever those nature, you try to make a tea with raisin is good. And then is nutmeg is good. Cardamom also good. And the clove also okay. So you make tea with those materials. Like raisin is sweet. It's very good for the lung. Raisin is one of the main medicine for lung in the Tibetan medicine. If you have like lung problems, long-term like working in the chemistry area or smoking, as a raisin tea is very good to build the lung capacity. If the nutmeg is the medicine for the heart muscle, and also good for the wind element, and then also is the nutmeg is very good to melting the cholesterol. So in the Tibetan medicine, the nutmeg is one of the main medicine for the like the imbalanced lung, which is the wind element. And particularly if you have the wind excess, I'm talking excess, okay? So you can make like grinding nutmeg, boil in the water, and then you can drink, you can put a little honey, or you can drink that way. Or when you're cooking food, you can put the nutmeg in the food, you can drink that way. So nutmeg is very good to building the muscles of the heart. If we have strong muscles of the heart, the pumping better the blood, and the blood get in the brain or on the big toe is a more easy way. If the blood didn't go on the brain on time, and then we get a lot of epileptic, what do you call this, the seizures, no? This seizure, that seizure, why? Because blood didn't go there. And that could be several reasons, but one of the reasons is that the heart is not pumping well. And it included also heart. And then another one is that the cardamom. Cardamom is one of the main medicine for the stomach. And then also the kidney, one of the main medicine for the kidney. So the cardamom is very good to restrain the kidney muscle, and then to clean the kidney. And also the nutmeg and the cardamom, this kind of like warm nature, so always good for the wind. which means is that any kind of the medicine good for the wind is good for the brain and good for the nerve system. And the clove, when we look in the clove is good for the wind, but also clove little bit cold nature, among compared with the nutmeg and then the cardamom. The clove is a little cool nature. So clove is good also for the lymph system. Clove is good for the thyroid. If you have like hypo, the thyroid, it's very good to drink the clove tea. Clove tea is one of the main medicine for the thyroid. Or if you have like sore throat, like a beginning of the catching cold, so clove is very good. Then when you have like TIPA problems, excess TIPA, turmeric is very good, clove is good, and then also is good, what do you call? Shingun. Shingun is good. What do you call the cinnamon? Yeah, that is good. Also, this Shingun also is good for the lung, but also good for TIPA. Because the turmeric, according to Tibetan medicine, turmeric is very good for the TIPA because cold nature. Turmeric is clean the small, large intestines, and it also is good for the infections in the organs. And the turmeric is very good for also one of the main medicine for the diabetes in Tibetan medicine. If you have like diabetes, you can drink every day about 3 weeks turmeric tea before eat food. So the turmeric is the one of the best medicine for the diabetes. And then also we say it's good for the cancers. Also I heard there's research, they found turmeric is good for the anti-cancer or something. But the Tibetan medicine, we said that in many thousand years ago. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, yeah. So this kind of thing is good. And then another one is if you have like the pagan problems, the heavy earth and the water element problems, and the spicy is good, like chili pepper, spicy is good. Again, is like the cardamom is good. So cardamom and those kinds is good for, you can make tea from, or you can put in the food. So any kind like the tea for the ginger is good. For an example, if we have like the heavy pagan, earth and the water element, you can drink like ginger tea before breakfast. So if you want to take something tea for the excess pagan, earth and the water element, you take the before breakfast when your stomach's empty, so that to clean is much faster, more effectively. If you want to take something for the lung, which is the wind element, it's better to take in the evening, because that is the time for arising the wind before go to sleep. If you want to take any kind of medicine or tea form for the TIPA, the best time is middle of the day, because that is the arising time. So that also tells us that the Tibetan medicine is not only observing is your body what's there happening, but also is observed to the outer nature, what's the day cycle changing, like early morning, middle, and late, because the sun is moving and then sun arising, sunset, to the middle night. So these three, they call it 6 movements of the sun and the moon. That means it's 6 movements in our body, so that is applied together. So, okay, so I will stop here. I think we went over.